Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about what to look for in a property in Blue Ridge. I'm going to go through 3 example properties and just provide some commentary on these listings, some pros and some cons, and talk about size of property and a little touch on budget. We already talked about location in the other video. If you didn't see that video, go find it. Hopefully you watched that already. So I won't speak to location, but I will speak to kind of the actual cabins themselves and what I like about them. And hopefully this kind of gives you a sense for what to be looking for as you start to evaluate properties and some of the questions you might be asking as you evaluate your offers and things like that. So the first cabin is one that's actively listed. It's going to go under contract tomorrow evening. I've got an offer on it for a buyer. And I won't share details that would harm my buyer, and no one will watch this before the offers are already done and over. But this property I expect to go for well above asking price, 10 to 20%, with really aggressive terms. So you're typically going to see on places like this with a view, you're going to see, you're going to be competing against cash offers and appraisal gaps and things like that. Again, this is recorded on January 18th. And this is the kind of the trend we've been seeing over the last few months. So the things we like about this property, obviously the location in Blue Ridge, the mountain views command a massive premium. You could basically take the same property without a view and add about 100,000 to the purchase price. That's a rough estimate, but that's generally what you're going to see. And I would say in general, that's a worthy investment because you're going to command much more revenue, right? So if in the beach markets you want to be beachfront or as close to the beach as possible, your mountain views or your waterfront are going to be the equivalent to being beachfront. And I think mountain views or water on the property are about the same, maybe a slight edge towards mountain views. Hard to know for sure, but I think both are similar. But people love the mountain views, and that really kills in the pictures and things like that. So this is great. Not everyone can afford or wants to spend the premium to get a mountain view, and I don't think it's essential, but I think the juice is worth the squeeze if you can deal with the competitive bidding and the price premiums. So we love the mountain view here on this one. Good deck space. You can see that the deck kind of extends around, and you've got the hot tub sitting out for some good views. We'll get there in a minute. So the good long range mountain views, good fireplace in here with a nice open living area. You've got the tongue and groove interior and the cabin look through and through. The furniture isn't great on this one, so I'd say that's a downside. These countertops are a little dated, but are fine, and the appliances look great. So on this one, I would probably be budgeting for almost a full furniture overhaul, like this bed, these chairs. You wouldn't necessarily need to, but I personally, if I could, have the budget for that, I would go ahead and plan on that. You can see that this one's a short-term rental because this is just a subtlety, but you can see that kind of turn tape on the toilet that the cleaners put. This bed is nice. These log beds I am a fan of, and I think are something you should account for in your budget. These are like $1,000 to $2,000. They're insanely durable and solid, and they're not going to creak or shake or anything like that. They're super heavy. You probably just want to pay someone to come and set them up, and you're going to pay big bucks for them, but they look great. They really make your place feel like a cabin, and people seem to like them. So those are great. Let's see, that bedding's terrible. You want to get some nicer looking bedding. That's just my opinion. Hit or miss reviews on these soaker tubs, kind of gross. At some point you may just want to like pull that out and put in a nice tile shower or something, but not the worst thing in the world to have a nice soaker tub in the bathroom. Again, good shots of this mountain view here and some good deck space. And you've got this loft space. This is something to look for as you're looking at cabins. Look for additional sleeping capacity above and beyond just the 2 beds, right? So in this case, like this square footage is big enough and this loft space big enough to where you could maybe plan on, instead of just sleeping 4, you could probably squeeze in 6 or 7 people on the high side, and you know that that's going to up your nightly rate, and that's huge. Heads and beds and sleeping capacity is one of the biggest drivers of success in short-term rental investing and in your ability to charge what you charge on a nightly basis, right? So this hot tub setup is amazing. Looking for places that already have a hot tub will save you about $10,000 cash out of pocket. If a place has never had a hot tub before, you're gonna have to find a place for it. And if there's not a good place already, you're gonna have to find a place. If you need to put it on a deck, you might have to do some supporting of that deck. This one may also need to be supported as well. So that's something to look for. And then you're also gonna have to wire it up. So where there's never been a hot tub before, let's say the panel is right here on the side of the house, that's great. You could wire it from there. But what if the panel's on the other side? Then you got a pretty steep electrician bill to get that over. And if your panel's not ready for I'm not an electrician, but the voltage or whatever it is that you need the amps that you need to run a hot tub, you might have to install a sub panel. So that can get pretty expensive pretty quick. We like to see these metal roofs. Metal roofs are a little bit more expensive, but they have a much longer lifespan. And so on a 2002, this is 2002, you know that roof's probably going to be in pretty good shape. And you're on 1.25 acres, so nice size lot of land, and price per square foot around here is kind of all over the place. So all in all, this is like a great buy, and I really like this property. So hopefully my client gets it. This is one that I currently have under contract with a buyer. And I think this one's similar, so I won't spend too much time, but I'll just kind of go through these pictures here and talk about some of the differences between the two. So this one has nicer furniture already. And obviously it's a higher price point, larger sleeping capacity, larger square footage. So your price per square foot is similar, and your views are a little bit better. So in this property, you've got more granite countertops, some nicer finishes. You've got nicer log beds through and through. You've got this catwalk out to this upstairs patio area. And these pictures don't do a good job of showing the views yet. Oh, there we go. So we've got some lower deck space with the hot tub and some nice long range views. There's also this basement area, log beds throughout. And you can tell that there's just a lot of good deck space on this property. So this is a phenomenal property. This one was extremely competitive. My buyer had to be very aggressive to get it. And this is also in Cherry Log, which is a great location. So this is probably one of my favorite properties that I'm going to sell to date. And I think this is kind of like, if you're willing to spend the premium dollars and kind of be in those really, really intense bidding wars, you want to go for something like this with great mountain views, good deck space, good log furniture. He'll do some updating to kind of freshen up the decor and things like that. But broadly, there's a lot of good furniture in here. So this is a great property. And again, this is kind of gives you a sense for where the market is at right now for something like this, right? Okay, so moving on, we have this property is in Mineral Bluff, which is a little further out. This one is currently sitting on the market, and I'm a big fan of this property. I'd love to see one of my buyers buy this property. And there's a couple of reasons why. So this one does not have a view. And it's priced accordingly, right? So this is $475 for 3,400 square feet, 4.4. And I like to use this example for a number of reasons because I think it's very different from the others. It's actively sitting on the market. It's been on the market for 3.5 months. And there are deals like this in our market where properties are sitting and could be a great fit for the right investor, someone who maybe wants to freshen a place up, do a little bit of remodel, some paint, some touching up, some refurnishing, things like that. And that's obviously what this property needs, right? So you can tell that the exterior's got some good kind of true log cabin feel. It's in a pretty location, but doesn't have a view necessarily, but is nice, quiet, kind of wooded area. You've got a nice cabin look inside. The kitchen needs to be like, the paint color's bad. A lot of the paint's bad. So you either need to like add some wood trim or do like a white or a gray kind of modern paint, maybe do some shiplap or something. And you would need a decent bit of that through a lot of the bedrooms and bathrooms, right? You've got good deck space outside, and you've got an awesome basement. So I like the basement setup here. Big open room, definitely space for games. You could throw some bunks in there. It looks like there's a little room downstairs as well. And then there's definitely some potential on this yard. I believe it's 3 acres. So your price per square foot, if you remember, those other ones were in the 350 range. This is 140. Again, no view, no crazy waterfront, but 3 acres. So you're on a large piece of land and you've got a lot of space. So the sleeping capacity on a place like this would be much, much higher. You're talking at least 2 per bedroom plus that basement space. You could probably sleep 12 to 15 people in this place. And you can imagine the type of kind of increase in revenue you could do there. Now, I think this one just takes a little bit more work, a little cash, and just some creativity around how do you set this place up to be really attractive to guests when you're competing against waterfront or long range mountain views. But again, there's with some effort and some money for much lower purchase price, you can be competing on sleeping capacity and things like that. You run some lights out here, throw a hot tub, maybe install kind of a fire pit area. Things like that can help you get an edge against some of those other properties, right? So I really like this property. I think hopefully this kind of analysis has highlighted some of the things to be thinking about. So if you're going to highlight some of the true attributes of like a good cabin to get, it would be sleeping capacity, and that's in the form of bedrooms, square footage, the layout and floor plan of the property. Then you're looking at views, true log cabin look inside and out. What's the furniture setup? You don't necessarily have to go true, authentic, kind of rustic cabin vibe. You could go modern vibe, and I think that can do phenomenally. I think that can do great. But so kind of either already having that in place or seeing a vision to get there. And then from there, it's really getting it under contract and getting that inspection done and seeing like, are the systems in good shape? Are the appliances in good shape? And then there's a whole kind of list of inspection items and things we look out for as we get into contract. And I will post another video on kind of what you can expect from me and what the process is from contract to close. So I appreciate you spending some time here on this video and hope this helps.